wanted to see what would work best from a ratio perspective. So I just had to test that. Yeah. All right. So we got some questions here. 10, the man. Australia is done. The cost of living is going to get worse and worse. Hey, look, unfortunately, I actually think you're right. I think it's definitely going to get worse before it gets better, especially if Australia follows the US's path in regards to cutting interest rates. If Australia cuts interest rates, we are done. We are done. It's a sign that the situation in Australia is way worse than the government gives it, like the Federal Reserve gives it credit for, or the Australian Reserve Bank gives it credit for. It is. It's not a good situation. This whole 0.5%, 50 basis point cut that the US did is not a good sign. People are cheering in the US that, oh, you know, a bit of a reprieve. It's not ideal. Yeah, 10 the man. The prices will never go down. You know, the interesting thing about price, I had this conversation today. Someone wants to sponsor the channel, and I was talking to them about this. I had this conversation today. I would much rather, because we were talking about like how much you earn in Australia, like how much income you earn, right? And I said to him, I would much rather earn less. So I'd much rather, instead of earning 110 a year when I was in Australia, earning say 90, pay less tax, and then everything be 20% cheaper. Then earn 110, pay more tax, and everything being expensive. You know, so definitely think you're right there. Paid off mortgage, now collect rent and live in Vietnam. The dream. You know, this is the thing. Like, it's not necessarily about it's not necessarily about cheaper or more expensive. It's just about better quality of life. I'd imagine your quality of life in Vietnam is pretty bloody good. Vietnam's one of our favorite places too, by the way. We absolutely love Vietnam. The Western world is getting too expensive. It is. You know, see, the thing is, for the Western world to exist the way it does, debt needs to exist. Circulation of money needs to happen. Without that circulation of money, the Western world ceases to function. And then you have 2-3 billion people between India and China that want what we had access to for the last 30, 40 years. So, and they have every right to want to have a middle class. But because of that, more competition for resources, more competition, higher, and there's more money washing around the economies, more money, higher inflation, higher costs. That's just how it is. Prices don't drop, they just stop going up. So people are always struggling, are always going to continue to struggle. Australia is cooked. Yeah, look, I sort of mentioned that in my videos, that Australia could easily go from a first world country to a third world country very quickly. And people don't realize that. Australia is a lucky country. You know why Australia is a lucky country? And it's so terrible to say, but Australia is the lucky country because we are next to China and we have a whole bunch of natural resources. That's why Australia is a lucky country. You know, it's plain and simple. If China slows down, we are next. We are going to slow down too. And because we basically moved all of our manufacturing and refinement overseas, we have no infrastructure. So it's going to be a pretty interesting situation once the music stops, as they say. I heard you talking about a plan B or even C. Wonder if it can find opportunities in Malaysia. There's opportunities everywhere. I think the beauty about working on the internet and working online is that it doesn't have any borders. You know, there's no reason why, there's no reason why as a Malaysian, you can't work online, say with a marketing agency. And I think you can there's nothing stopping you working with Malaysians all over the world. You know, like I think the internet is the future, like for a lot of people, because it's not just Australia's economy weakening. You know, Malaysia's economy is weakening. A lot of economies all over the world are weakening, and if you don't do something about that and have a plan B to either beat inflation by earning more or having an income source that's not derived from your home country, then you're going to struggle. Please drop more content about making money online. Yeah, man. What would you like to know? I've been doing it so long now, I can talk about pretty much anything. So yeah, if there's anything specifically you want to know about making money online, let me know. Fiend's got a business online. Awesome. Wait, I'm reading it from the wrong way around. Okay. I am from Australia, planning to leave for Vietnam in the next few months. Yeah, Vietnam's amazing. I really like Vietnam. And as far as cost of living goes, that's even cheaper again for an Australian. What's your plan to make money? Oh, yeah, make money. Then I'm aware of that. Oh yeah, the 3-month runs in Vietnam. Yeah, that is the border runs in Vietnam is part of the reason we didn't go in the end. We decided to, we decided Malaysia because you can get a digital nomad visa in Malaysia, and that allows you to stay for a year plus another year. So, with kids and stuff like that, it's like an 8-hour run to the border every time. Doesn't sound like much, but it adds up, right? Is drop shipping a viable business in Malaysia? Yeah, I mean, drop shipping is viable anywhere. Just think about it this way. You don't have to drop ship into Malaysia. You could drop ship into Australia. You could drop ship into the US. You could drop ship into Canada from Malaysia. And this is what I talk about. It's like your plan B should be deriving an income not from your home country if you can, ideally. Hello from Melbourne. G'day, Chung. Good to see you, mate. Love Melbourne. Spent a lot of time there. Mitch, you're spot on. Yeah, thanks, mate. I'm finding that I've never really told my story because I didn't think anyone would be interested in it, but there's a few people that clearly are. So happy to share my experiences, continue to share my experiences if people want to hear it. Would you sell SEO or pay-per-click services? Would you sell SEO or PPC services, which is pay-per-clicks, to local Oz services, or selling funnel email marketing services to a global audience? I think when it comes to like digital marketing, you sell what you can to whoever, so we got clients all over the place. We don't do SEO anymore, even though I did SEO for a long time. I don't do SEO anymore just because it's getting harder, but we do Google Ads, which is pay-per-click. And we basically service a lot of locals in Australia. The problem is if you live overseas and you earn a local income, you pay extra tax on it when you're a non-resident. So it almost makes sense to focus on people that aren't in Australia, because those people that aren't in Australia, you don't have to pay tax on in Australia. All right, so next question here. I built a few niche sites and it's never done client work. Yeah, I think it's not that big a jump from doing niche sites to client work. It's not. It's a similar thing. It's a the principle of SEO, the principle of PPC it's the same. It doesn't matter what you work on. It's just about retooling and rejigging and working with clients. Melbourne has changed a lot in the last 15 years. Yeah, the last time I was in Melbourne was in 2010 when I was in the Navy. I lived over near Cerberus at Rosebud. Beautiful. I love Rosebud, except again, it was expensive. Even when I was there, it was freaking expensive. So I'm sure it hasn't changed. Clint, would you like to buy some DVDs I can post? No, I should be okay, mate. I should be okay. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are willing to buy them, though, as you know. There we go. 10. I make $4,000 a month from Oz and $2,500 teaching. 600 living in Vietnam. Dude, making $6,500 living in Vietnam is going to put you in like the top 1%. That is a disproportionately large amount of income for Vietnam. Especially, I don't know if you have a family, you have a wife and kids, let us know. So Dan is working FIFO now, but moving back to Asia in 10 years for retirement. Yeah, I think it's always good to have a plan in place. I mean, FIFO is good. Like, don't get me wrong, FIFO is good if you're suited to the lifestyle. The thing is, the whole China, like, if I was you, I'd be working on my plan now, even though you're not planning to use it for another decade. I'd be working on now, because what happens tomorrow if China slows right down and they stop buying iron ore? You're cooked, right? Like it happened in 2010, like it slowed right down and everyone lost their jobs. So I'd start working my plan now. I'd start retooling, rejigging. I've got my course on digital marketing. If it's something you want to learn more about, maybe we can transition from what you know now to what you do now. Okay, so Chong has said, can a family of four live comfortable with passive income 3K a month in Australia and Malaysia? Yeah, well, as a family of four, 2 adults, 2 kids in Malaysia, in our place, we spend $2,225 a month. And it might fluctuate to 2,300. We spend 2,225 a month Australian to live here in Malaysia. And we live pretty comfortably. So 3K, yeah, for sure. 100% you can. It's hard to find a friend in Melbourne. No one goes out. Yeah, I was only explaining this. It's one of the reasons I like Malaysia and Southeast Asia so much is, there's like a little beach along here, like a walkway. And I don't go out there much, but because it's too hot. But I'll look out there at 11 o'clock at night when I'm on the computer, and I'll see people out there having dinner, walking around, kids with their mum and dad. It's just, everyone's out and about here, 24 hours a day. And I know that's a good thing. Sorry, that's not a good thing, but it's, it is what it is, right? Rosebud is a ghost town after 6 p.m. It used to be quite bumping in Rosebud. Like, it was quite a popular little place when I was there. Obviously, it's changed a little bit now. Hey, I'm going to drop this link for you, Dan. Just one sec. Let me find it. I'll just link for you if you want to learn more about digital marketing and my story of how I got into it. I've got this little link here, which I'll drop in for everyone if they want to learn more about that. What do we got here? I'm single. Yeah. So if you're single, $6,500 a month is you're gonna be fine. You'll probably only spend $1,500 a month, $1,200 a month, and you'll be able to save the rest. Or just go traveling. Just make Vietnam your base and then just travel around. That's what we do. So yeah, 100%. So Matt's Outdoor Adventures. I can see your point. Since spoken to people that are moving over to Bali and they're trying to get me to move over there. Yeah, I think Bali's one of those things. I don't personally love Bali as much as others love Bali. I think there's better places in Southeast Asia. If you want to go and hang out with other Aussies, go to Bali. If you want to go and hang out with Malaysians and experience local culture, then there's other places, in Indonesia to go to do that. But I think the gist of it is that you can get the same, if not a better quality of life in these other countries. And sometimes it's like not even about the money. The money's a big part of it, but it's not even necessarily about the money. It's about just quality of life and what you expected. How do I explain this? Like, I look at the traffic here. I look at what people like, the way people react to each other here. People say hello to each other. I feel safe here. It's all that stuff. People don't talk about that stuff when they come to these countries, but part of the reason people like going to Bali is because they walk down the street and people say hello and stuff like that. I said this to someone today. I have never felt safer than I ever have in Southeast Asia. Now, notwithstanding Japan and stuff, it's crazy safe in those countries. But even here in Malaysia, I walk down the street. No, actually, a very good example is I left my phone on a table in a food court here in Malaysia. Accidentally, I walked to the toilet. Someone grabbed my phone, ran up to me and said, "Oh, you left your phone on the table," and gave it to me. It's like just things like that. There's always people around. People are always smiling. That's a big thing, and that's what I talk about quality of life as well. It's not just the money. It's like feeling like you belong somewhere. The thing with Australia is I love Australia, but I always felt like I didn't belong there for some reason. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it's not always about the money, I live in China and have 3 sources of income. Earning an Aussie wage and living in China is awesome. Yeah, I bet it is. Diversity of income is the secret. 2 is 1, 1 is none, 3 is the guarantee. Drop the link. Yep, I dropped that link. It should be pinned now. So let me just remove one of these pins. It should be pinned in YouTube, so you should be able to see that link. And then we got the next question. TrueMate Oz has been invaded by Indians who don't socialize. I can't speak to that. I don't know. But yeah, who knows? Can you please make a detailed video of your kids' education while overseas? We did. I've got a video on the channel about that. I can go into more detail. Maybe I could do like a vlog of what it's like, just so people can see. But yeah, happy to. We're very open about how we do it. And then we got Australia has changed so much. Sad to see the damage done. Yeah, look, it's it is what it is, right? Like, I don't know. I don't have the rose-colored glasses that a lot of Australians have about Australia. Like, I feel like a lot of Australians, the romance they have with Australia is something they experienced in the past. Like, when I was a kid, Australia, I remember I have very, very fond memories of Australia. As an adult, not so much. All right. I wanted to build authority sites in my time off but AI has disrupted the entire business model. Yeah, authority sites are really taking a big hit. I've got several like content sites, and AI just killed them off. You know, if you go into Google search now, it's just Reddit, and my little off-roading website just doesn't get a look in anymore. So I used to make good money off that, and you just roll with the punches and adapt to the times. In Jomerton, walk down the street, people always outcome tools. Yeah, Jomerton is its own little beast. We literally went to Pattaya 2 weeks ago, and I've never seen so many old dudes in one spot in my life. Bali traffic. Yeah, look, the traffic's pretty crazy in Bali, but that's everywhere. It's not just Bali. And then Bali's a tourist trap. I think Bali, like the main parts of Bali are, but there's still some beautiful parts of Bali, right? Lived in Asia for 13 years, always ready to return. Yeah, it's like it's a nice place to be. I love, brother, hey brother, love your content. I'm from Melbourne, considering doing the same work in marketing automation, so could work remotely. It's a joke here. Yeah, I think if you have a job that is remote, then what have you got to lose? You know, we're going to talk about this in a sec, but what have you got to lose? I mean, if you're not getting ahead in Australia, then if you leave for a few years and come back, you're still not going to be any worse off than you were. That's the way I look at it. You know, people said to me, oh, you know, this is what really annoyed me about what I said in the videos. And the first one, it was like, oh, you had a boat and cars and stuff. I was like, dude, my boat was like a little 4-meter tinny, and I had a 2008 Navara Ute, and I had a 2008 Ford Falcon. It wasn't like I had crazy expenses. But we were saving to buy a house. And every time we thought we'd saved it up, we went to the bank, and either the interest rates rose, so our requirements changed, or the prices of property changed, so we couldn't borrow enough. And I said, fuck it. Like, what's the point? Might as well just leave. We're not going to be any worse because we don't own a house. You know, so that's the thing. The food in Penang is next level. It really is. The food is incredible in Penang. It's a good mishmash, like melting pot of food as well. There's some incredible food in Penang, and yeah, it's really good. Get the hell out of Australia. Rent's more than my agency retainer for real. Yeah. Look, it's pretty crazy in Australia. Like, I mean, you've got obviously, we all know what the issue is, right? There's just not enough houses for the amount of people in Australia. We all understand that. The government wants to build 1.2 million homes in the next 5 years, but then 3,000 building companies have gone bust in the last 2. So there's going to be a shortfall of like 300,000 or 400,000 homes. So the cost of living is not going to get any better anytime soon, because the rental crisis is not going to change. Opening the borders and having migration is not going to fix that. It's like a short-term stimulus in the arm for the economy. But we don't have there's not enough houses for the people that are in Australia at the moment, let alone 500,000 migrants. Yeah, so I don't pretend to know the answer. I don't know the answer, but there's a big gap between. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed before Australia's economy starts to get back on track. Yeah, Mitch, all the big marketing agencies in Melbourne are doing big layoffs at the moment. Unemployment is rising. It's been rising for a long time. It's just being covered by the way that the government measures unemployment. So if you lost your full-time job and you go and work part-time, you're considered employed still, even though you're underemployed. Australia has this massive problem with underemployment. It's not that we have no jobs. It's just a lot of the jobs are not full-time. And that's a big problem at the moment. I copped a bit of racism in Malaysia, Sonali heritage, but never in Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. I hear about never feeling home here. I always felt like I never belonged. Yeah, I'm the same. And look, racism is everywhere. You may have just copped it in Malaysia because people are having a bad day, but that racism is everywhere. But yeah, I always, I never felt like I belonged in Australia. Not after I left the Navy. I really struggled to sort of fit in, and what I pictured my life being with the kids and living my kids and being able to go outside and feel safe and things like that, it wasn't happening. So we decided to keep moving. With so many changes online, what service offering skills would you focus on in 2024? So yeah, this is a great question. Yes, the landscape with AI is changing the way business is being done online. It doesn't change the fact that there's still hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of businesses out there that have no freaking idea how to implement any of this stuff. So we still business as usual. We still do Facebook ads, Google ads mainly, and then a smattering of bits and pieces, email marketing, because yes, even though in the digital world, we all use AI, you go to the local plumber, they don't even know AI is a thing. If they do know AI is a thing, they don't know how to implement and execute it in your business. There's still a heap of opportunity out there. Automations is a big thing. Digital transformation is a big thing. So helping these businesses move to the 21st century in the way they operate is going to be a big thing. It's going to be a very sellable service from a digital marketing perspective. Hey mate, will you ever return to Australia if there's another pandemic? Yeah, of course. This is the thing. Like, I think people get the wrong idea about what I meant by leaving Australia. It's like, if people say, "Oh, you'll be back if you get injured," it's like, of course I fucking will. I'm still Australian. I still pay taxes in the country. I have every right to come back if I want to. You know, if there's another pandemic, actually, you know what? It would really depend on how Australia reacts. I think maybe if Australia reacted the way it did last time, I might not come back. I might just stay in one of these countries. But I heard the lockdowns were pretty crazy in Malaysia as well. So I don't think there's any escaping that. Singapore apparently was pretty free and open. Maybe I'll just go to Singapore or go to a country that's a little bit freer. But at least I won't be locked away. You know, like, you know, in Australia, you had no choice but to go through it, right? There's racism in every society, of course. How is life there? Do you think you guys will come back to Australia to live? Life's pretty good here. You know, like, it was interesting. My wife made that video talking about her side of the story, and it was nice to hear her perspective. Her heart's still in Australia. So I think we will eventually come back. I just don't know when. I really do, like, because right now, financially, we could probably go back to Australia. Like, we make enough in the agency. We're doing pretty well. We could go back to Australia if we want, but why the hell would we? Like, look at this. You know, I look out this window and I'm looking at a $1 million view and it costs us $200 a week. Like, why would we go back? You know, the food's good here. You know, we've got a lot of space. We're getting into routine. The kids are into sport. The only thing that will cause us to go back is maybe schooling. Like, if we struggle with high school, then we'll come back. So, but our plan is actually to put the kids in an international school here, but we're just still working the logistics after there. What do you do if you can't work any social security system? Not in these countries, no. You know, you have to be fully funded, self-supported here. If you can't work, it obviously makes it a little bit harder. I don't know. You'd have to seek advice on that. But I think if you are on a pension, like a disability pension, I think it stops after 6 weeks. So you might just have to make runs back to Australia, perhaps. Or you transition to do it, depending on what your disability is. Obviously, there's different disabilities, but you might still be able to work online. I just think, you know, that's obviously a specific situation. But there's no social security here, not for foreigners. Australia's come some of the worst controls during COVID. Why would you? Yeah. I think about that as I was talking. It's like, you know, I think if it was locked up the way it was, I don't think we would have come back. I think we would have stayed here. Just speaking my own experience, each way elbow doesn't work for Australians. You know, like, this is the funny thing. I don't follow Australian politics anymore. It's so, you know, the parties are so similar these days that it's hard to tell. I'm disillusioned with the Australian electoral system. I'm disillusioned with the Australian, like the federal, like the election, like the parties. You know, after like all the voting out that happened, where we were getting prime ministers that we didn't get to pick or choose, that did it for me. I was like, why the hell do I have an interest in politics in Australia when I don't even really get a choice? I'm choosing a party. I'm not choosing Albanese. I'm choosing the Labor Party. You know, and I don't agree with what they're saying. And there's things in the Liberal Party I don't agree. It's just like a lot of Australians are just fed up with the current system, right? Like, I don't give a shit who's in. It's like, it's just the current system is not working. I've got a remote job and recently moved overseas with my wife and 2 kids. Yeah, that's the same with us. It's a very liberating when you can do it, right? Gold Coast hotels are $300 plus a night. Yeah, that's probably for a cheap one too. More people coming in. My rental will be pushing 1K a week in 2 years. Yeah, look, probably. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's a capitalist society. If you have a property and you're able to rent it, like more power to you. You know, it's just and that's what I mean. I'm not upset at landlords. You know, they're just trying to make ends meet as well, right? That's more power to you. You know, I just wish I had a property, but you know, I don't, and so I just adapt to the situation I'm in. And being a trade in Australia at the moment, material costs is going up so much. Yeah, that's why all these construction companies went under. 3,000 construction companies have gone under in the last 18 months. It's because they're on fixed costs and the cost of materials has gone up, and then the cost of labor has increased. It's like, you know, they're just in a situation. And like I said, that's why it's good to sell services, because even though the cost of living has gone up, my agency, the cost of doing the service and providing the service didn't go up that much. Whereas I had companies I worked with, and their cost of steel had gone up 70%, and they were struggling. Whereas what we do selling labor doesn't necessarily have that issue. Apartment in our train costs $400 a month, 2-bed beachfront. Yeah. You know, our place is 4-bedroom, 5-bathroom, and 2,500 square feet. So it's a bit bigger, but $200 a week is not bad for this place. What type of insurance did you have in place when you ran your agency in Australia? Yeah, so we have indemnity insurance, so public liability insurance, like indemnity insurance. We have professional, what's it called? Like mismanagement insurance. Like if the executives of their business mismanage, we have insurance against that, and just like workers' compensation. So kept it pretty simple. All right. Underlying racism is more prevalent in multicultural Australia than it is in Asia. I would agree with this. I made a video about this and I got absolutely shafted for it. Australians hated the idea that they thought that I said that Australia was pretty racist. And it is. I don't care what anyone says. As someone that is half Filipino myself, I copped the brunt of it when I was a kid. I don't as much now because I'm 6'2" and 115 kilos. So I don't cop as much now just because I'm big. But even in the Navy, I copped heaps of racism in the Navy. I don't think it's a every person thing. I think it's just like, you know, I don't know. It's just the way Australians talk and things like that. But it can be perceived as racism for sure. Thai girls are money hungry. Guard your heart and wallet. Yeah. Look, I think that's just women everywhere, mate. I don't think that's just Thailand. Australian savage lockdowns are where I left. Yep. The real question is, did Malaysia have forced jab mandates like Australia? I have no idea. Can you talk about what type of program and coaching you're thinking of putting together? Yeah. So basically, I am building a program that can help anyone, regardless of what you know now, go from not knowing anything about marketing, not knowing anything really about the online space, to running a digital marketing agency that gets you to the point where you can quit your full-time job within 6 months. And if it's not 6 months, it'll be close to 6 months as possible. Like after 6 months, you'll be well on your way and you'll just see the pipeline. The thing is, it's exactly what I did. Now, there's a lot of people that are doing similar, but a lot of their programs are based around you quitting a job, starting this and doing this full-time and just committing to it, right? I'm teaching people the same way I did it, which is doing it after hours. So a lot of the strategies I have that I've developed for my agency that I've developed over a long period of time are asynchronous in nature. They're designed to be done after work. So I'd work till 5:30, 6 o'clock, start work at like 8 on the agency, work till midnight. So all my strategies are based around asynchronous communication. So I'm developing that course. I think a lot of people don't know this, but I'm actually quite well known in the digital marketing space because I've been doing it a long time. So I have a lot of, I have a pretty decent reputation in the space, especially around service delivery. So delivering Facebook ads, Google ads, and things like that. And when I made that video, I realized there's a lot of you guys that actually are more than happy to leave Australia. You just have no way of doing it and making an income. So I just believe, and this is based on this video, so I'll repost this, guys. This video I just posted in here explains it a little bit more detail, but I just believe that anyone can do it because I did it. I was a mechanical fitter. So if I can do it, I sure as shit know anyone else can, right? And I just sort of explained my story and how I went about it and why I think that digital marketing is a very safe way to go about dipping your toe into the online space, because if you learn skills, like the skills you learn in digital marketing are very general in nature. So they'll help you with pretty much anything you decide to do afterwards, if you do decide to do something else afterwards. It's not a scam. It's not an MLM. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's because all you're doing is you're like finding businesses that need leads, that need help, and you're helping them get more business. It's basically like being an insurance provider or service provider, or an accountant. You're just providing a high ticket service. Nothing untoward about it. It just requires learning how to do it. So that's what I'm building out. I've already started. 6 people have already committed. I've got enough commitment to start it now, because I already have the second part of this done, which is, like I said, I'm quite well known in the digital marketing space. And I have a course that is designed to take people that are doing $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month and take them to 7 figures. That course is done, pretty much. It's a little tying up the loose ends. And this is just like the first part of this that I never really intended to do, because I've always worked with people that had marketing agencies already. But I realized that there's a lot of people out there that are looking for a way to make money online that's safe and that works around their job, that's actually legitimate. So this isn't a get rich quick scheme. It takes a lot of freaking hard work, but it's I'd much rather put my efforts into something that's going to get me a return on investment and teach me some core hard skills that will help me, than just pour it into some kind of water filter or Tupperware or something like that. So yeah, I don't know if I explained myself well, but I was just sort of putting it on the spot. But that's the gist of it. Like I said, I just linked the video. If you watch that video, you'll get a better idea of what I'm up to. Australians don't care about the country. Everyday Aussie battler just trying to get one that's affected. Lawmakers to offset. Yeah, that's exactly it. Australians care about a country that doesn't care about them. This is the thing. The Australian people are very unique, very resilient. I'm proud to be Australian, but the government doesn't give a shit about the Australian people. Really, like I know that's terrible to say, but they really don't. And say, like I said, the lawmakers and top focus, they really don't. They don't give a shit that everyday Australians are really struggling to make ends meet. There's like families that are living in cars and tents and shit like that. They don't give a shit about that. Really, like it's the truth, and it's sad. But a lot of Australians don't have any other choice. It's not like living in we're an island. You can't escape it. Once you're on the island, if you can't afford to leave the island, you're stuck on it forever. So, I'm very fortunate that I was in a position to be able to leave, and I have a way of earning an income and things like that. But there's a lot of Australians that don't, and I feel sorry for those Australians. In Australia, was it the cost of housing or renting and not buying a kid's future? Would you prefer it? And not buying for your kid's future, or would they prefer to be back in Australia? Yeah, so great question. The cost of renting was what was killing us, $700 a week for a little shitbox house, and not buying for the kids' future. Would the kids prefer to be back in Australia? We ask them all the time. We regularly ask them that, and they have no inclination of wanting to go back. And I'm not saying that as like one of these parents that wants to travel around with their kids. I'm very conscious of that. Like if the kids turned around and said, we miss home, we want to go home, I would seriously consider going back. But they love it over here. You think about it, right? They're getting to spend more time with their parents than most kids get to spend with their parents in their whole life. And I think that's what they enjoy, is the fact that we're home with them. We spend a lot of time with them. We spend a lot of time as a family, because when we were in Australia, we didn't do that. And I think they understand that. And plus, they get to be homeschooled, which they really enjoy. They know if they go back to Australia, they're going to enter the traditional schooling system again. So I think they enjoy being homeschooled as well. Pauline Davis is one of the biggest to fail. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. How long did it take you to learn digital marketing skills? Where can you start earning income? Where could you start earning income that would replace your full-time salary? Yeah, so digital marketing, it took me a long time to learn, but that's because I went, I took a lot of like side paths, the thing is I didn't have anyone show me how to do this. So I just learned from trial and error. So I've been at it for 8.5 years now. And I reckon I could have learned how to do marketing in like 6-7 months if I had a mentor that just showed me what to learn, when to learn it. I just went down a lot of side paths, like just trial and error learning. So it's taken me years and years to learn. But the thing is, I have the beauty of retrospective now and hindsight. I know how, I have a good idea of what needs to be learned when. And that's where the advantage is I have. Do you reckon you can get $100,000 a year online with client work, while working 7/7 with a small team of VAs? Well, yeah, that's what we did in Australia. I haven't mentioned this. I should really do this now, but our situation has changed a lot in the last 2 years. So when we were in Australia, when we were growing My Online Guy, we were doing about $1 million a year in revenue, probably just under $1 million a year in revenue as an agency. I had 10 staff in Australia, and then I had a small team in the Philippines as well. We had an office and everything like that. That's why we were only making about $100,000 a year, right? Because it's, we had such high overheads. When we decided to start traveling, we had to basically rejig our business. We let go of a big portion of the staff. We rejigged our processes. We streamlined what we did. We cut away services. So we just do Facebook ads and Google ads and the occasional website. And we just focus on that. These days, we're doing probably $800,000 a year in revenue, and we're taking home about 350 of that. So it's well and truly possible to do. And this is what I was saying, is like, we could go back to Australia now, like financially, we could go back to Australia. We just choose not to do it now. Our thoughts are we're just going to continue to save. And if we do go back to Australia, we'll just buy a house. That's sort of our gist. But while we're here, we're saving so much money, and we're not sacrificing anything from a quality of life perspective. Why the hell wouldn't we live here, So that may change. We may get bored of Malaysia and go back to Australia, but like, our situation financially got way better after we left, because it forced us to move fully online and remote. When you can secure enough dividend income in Australia, that'll be your ticket of freedom out of Australia. Yeah, I agree, dude. If you can get $100,000 a year in dividend income after tax, you are home and hose, my friend. That's the way you want to be. But unfortunately, a lot of us don't have the capital to do that. I'm half Philo. Oh, nice. Kamustika. Australia's only good for making money. That's it. The culture and society is cooked. I think it's just lost. Australia's just lost its way. That's all it is. All right, next question. What services do you offer in your digital marketing agency? So we do Google ads, we do Facebook ads, lead generation. We also do the occasional website. We also do some some TikTok ads, and we also do a bit of social media as well, but just not as much anymore. But mainly Facebook ads, Google ads, and I also coach a lot. So I've coached over 800 marketing agency owners at this point, and that's so I make a bit of money from that too, coaching others. Mum is from Bohol. Oh, nice. Philo girl in Oz became westernized very quickly. Yeah. Like, why not? Australia's, you're surrounded by other Aussies. It's bound to happen. Just had Australian visiting friends this week, and they are so happy being in Australia. They are now in retirement age and traveling around the world with their retirement age. Yeah. See, the thing is, there was like a golden era in Australia. I see this a lot. A lot of people just say I'm a whinging millennial. Oh, you're just a sooking millennial. Just make it work. Just work hard. You stop sooking. And it's the 67-year-old dude that's got 8 properties that happened to be born at the exact right time to take advantage of all that. And to their credit, they did take advantage of that. But they've completely lost touch of what it's like for an Australian that doesn't have access to all that stuff. That's the thing, and I think a lot of Australians, I think a lot of Australians just don't understand that, and like older Australians, is that it's not whinging when it's the lived experience, and there's a lot of Aussies that are really struggling that didn't get the opportunity to buy property at $30,000, so yeah, I think it just comes full circle. Startup capital for starting a small marketing agency, Google ads, landing pages, software, insurance. You don't need more than $2,000, and that's stretching it. I think $2,000 is probably too much. I think $2,000 would allow you to run some ads and like develop a few ads for one of the strategies I have, which is come bearing gifts, which allows you to actually go to businesses with leads beforehand, so that it's easier to close them. But yeah, you can start an agency with $500 if you really needed to, $500,000. I just suggest $2,000 because it gives you a bit of wiggle room as well. I've struggled online for years trying to build projects online while working offshore and mining. Yeah, it's because you probably have it's probably because you don't have the it's probably because you don't have asynchronous. You haven't done something that's asynchronous in nature. It's got to work around the fact that you're away for 2 weeks at a time. That's the hard thing. Swans vs Sport game starting soon. All right, mate, have a good one. Maybe a small client base is the option to get cash flow without fighting the algorithm. Yeah, 100%. Can you tell me how everyone's income was affected in Australia? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I watched the video after live. Just going to stay here and peppy with questions are too young. Yeah, please do. Hey, got a super chat here. Thank you. Pair character punching the air with fist and bump written in his knuckles. I'm not sure what that means, but it's much appreciated, that whatever that means. Maybe let me know. Oh, is that a super sticker idea? I don't know. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that is. This is the first live I've done for a very long time. With digital marketing agencies, but thank you so much for the gesture. It's much appreciated. With the digital marketing, is there any risk to lose money, or is it more lost time? Actually, the chances of losing money doing digital marketing are very low, because the skills you learn are so practical that you'll eventually, even if you don't use them as a digital marketer, you'll use them at some point in the future. It's really loss of time. That's your main thing. There's an opportunity cost to starting anything. But yeah, I don't think you're going to sit there and go, I regret doing it, because like learning how to do Facebook ads, next thing you start a little business in Australia and you know how to market it, you're not going to lose that. You'll get an ROI on it, whether it's doing digital marketing directly or doing something in the future. Ben's mate, super sticker. Thank you so much. I'm going to have to make some super stickers. If you guys, I didn't realize people did this stuff. Hey, Kate and Wayne. So awesome to see you guys. Miss Grazing Lady. So glad you started your business. So how exciting. Tell me how it's going. Elfin, what visas are you on? Is it easy going on the Malaysia My Second Home visa if you have a business and offshore online, maybe incorporating to Hong Kong and Singapore? Yeah, so we're on a digital nomad visa, so I don't know exactly about the Malaysia My Second Home. The D Returnu visa was quite easy to get. It's just a lot of hoops to jump through, but if you can prove the income, it's fine. And it doesn't matter where your business is established. If you have a business that's offshore online, yeah, you're just going to be able to prove the income and prove how you're going to afford to live in the country without taking from the country. But yeah, could be worth doing a little bit more, more about that. How come you didn't move to a cheaper area of Australia to live, or marketing is it just the cost to your marketing, or is it just the cost of living? We lived in a cheaper part of Australia. There's always challenges to that. We lived in a part of Australia that was 3 hours away from Perth, and yeah, it was cheaper to live there, but that comes with its own set of challenges. You're further away from healthcare. It's hard to find good education out there in the regions. It's healthcare is subpar a lot of times because they can't get doctors, can't get fresh vegetables. It's all a trade-off. Whereas coming here and paying $2,250 a month, we don't sacrifice any of that. We get good healthcare, we get good food, we get good facilities, and it was still cheaper than living out in the regions. I wonder how much more Aussies need to be squeezed before should we run out June is no longer a good excuse to where we're heading. I don't know. That is a great question. I think only time will tell. This is the double-edged sword of Australians, is that they are very resilient. Australians are too resilient almost. They're willing to just cop it on the chin, whereas other cultures, other countries aren't willing to just cop it on the chin like that. I think they're going to be. I think Australians are going to get squeezed pretty hard before they really go, this is a problem. I don't know. That's a great question though. Cheaper area in Australia, you've got to be kidding. Yeah, it's all trade-offs, right? Jimmy, we miss you guys here. Kate, thank you so much for jumping on. Really miss you guys too. When is the course coming out? 1st of January is the launch date for it. I'm doing an early adopter offer. If you want to learn more about that, watch the video, book in a call, and then we'll tee up there. There's a link in the description to book a call for that. Hooked up with my mate's ex-housemate. She was a Malaysian, lovely girl. I live in Penang. Do you have a job opportunity for me? Bachelor degree in engineering, thanks. No, because it's completely remote. Yeah, sorry. Oh, another super chat. Thank you so much. Again, I've got to work out how these work. Grew up in Mandurah. G'day from the Peel region. Andy, good to see you, man. I look, the Peel region is one of the best places in Australia, in my opinion. It's expensive and there's no jobs around, as you would know. Good luck finding a job that's not retail or hospitality in Mandurah. You know, it is a lovely place though. Andy, thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. What did you get? Did you say a super chat? I've got to work out how these work, guys. Are you a believer in niche agency format or generalist? Generalist, for sure. I believe that it's important to niche down at some point, but that's when you're scaling. I think starting general is the best single effective way to significantly increase your chance of success, and also significantly increase your chance of success, and also diversify your income streams. I think it's one of the best ways to learn how to do it too, because you become good at the foundations of developing ads and generating leads. Aussies bent over during COVID and took it. Yeah, look, it was a pretty shining example of it, right? Like the Australians really did not complain about the fact that they were locked up for several months. How long can Aussies stay in Penang? 3 months. 3 months you can stay in Malaysia. You don't have to have a visa or anything. You just like fill in a form, an e-form before you arrive, and you can stay for 3 months. And if you leave, come back and get another 3 months. They get a bit funny if you do that like multiple times, like 4, 5, 6 times. You'll have to go to a visa at some point. But we've been in and out of Malaysia several times, and just over the period of 2 years, and every time you get 3 months. But that goes for the whole of Malaysia too, not just Penang. So 3 months and Australians get 3 months in most places, except for Thailand and except for Philippines and a few other countries. But most countries give Australians 3 months. Thailand has 60 days. It has a 30 plus 30. Yeah, and that's the only unfortunate thing about Thailand is, in saying that, it's actually quite easy to get a visa in Thailand compared to Malaysia. So it's easier to stay. Hello, nice to see you. Humidity, Penang versus Pattaya. This is an interesting one. I would say that they're both hot and they're both humid, but I would say Penang is more humid than Pattaya because Penang's closer to the equator. So I mean, it always feels humid in Penang. But I would say this time of year it's actually quite good because there's always a lot of storms rolling through, like cool it down. So we've had a string of like a week and a bit where it's actually been quite reasonable here. But I know now, just looking at how bright and sunny it is out there, that it's going to be really, really hot. And that's why I'm like, this is up. I'm going to get this window tinted. And I'm just trying to work out what tint I want to get because this window gets freaking hot really quickly. So, but it's too good a view not to have my desk here. So guys, like I said, I'm just going to post this here one last time. This is a link to learning more about digital marketing. If you're interested, go and check that out. I'm going to finish up. I'm going to take the boys to soccer. Use split air conditioners. Yeah, so the place has 7 of them or something like that. But they're expensive to run, so we don't run them too often. But yeah, if you want to look at that, go and check that out yourself. Then you should be able to book a call in the description of that if you want to book a call and learn more about it. Or follow us on Instagram. Just come and chat to me on Instagram if you've got any more questions. What are some online places to start looking for entry-level remote jobs? Start a marketing agency. That's what I was suggesting. But no, if you are serious about doing that, just send me a message on Instagram. How much in AUD is a loaf of bread and 2 liters of milk there? A loaf of bread is probably about $1. But it's not the same bread as Australia, so it's not really a fair comparison. A 2-liter thing of milk here is probably about $2.50, something like that. It's probably similar to Australia. Eggs, you can get 15 eggs for $1 here. So eggs are really cheap here, and the rest of the staples are really cheap too. Like vegetables and stuff, they're about the same price as Australia. But like where you're saving money is like if I wanted to go out and get dinner somewhere, you're paying like $5. Whereas in Australia, you're paying $15, $20 for a meal out. Here, it's like $5. You can feed the whole family. If you wanted to just eat at a local hawker store, you feed the whole family for like $15. So proportionally, the food is cheap. Like just the raw materials to make food is cheaper here, and that's why it's there. I'm always at 7-Eleven. Cheapest shifts, coffee is just over $1. Coffee here is like, I don't drink coffee, but coffee here, if you just go to one of the local vendors here, it's like 10 cents, man. It's so cheap here for coffee. But yeah, I used to like the 7-Eleven, the big ones. But yeah. Hey guys, I'm going to jump off. I'm just going to get ready for soccer. thanks so much, guys, for jumping on. It was a bit of a ramble, but like, if you like these, let me know if you've enjoyed this. Just give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll come on more often and do this, because I do enjoy chatting to everyone, and like I said, I do have a few insights there that I enjoy sharing with others and on why we did this. So, guys,